Hello, fellow YouTubers. This is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music. In the last video on Orb Composer, we looked at how to enter the chord sequence or a chord sequence into Orb Composer. And in this video, we'll look at how to enter the melody. So the melody that we'll be looking at is right here. And let's hear what that sounds like. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we'll do is start up Orb Composer. We'll select the orchestral template, and this is the Pro version. And then we'll go ahead and enter in a theme block. And we'll go ahead and choose an 8-measure sentence. And notice the chord sequence is provided at this point by Orb Composer. So from the last video, we go over to the chord listings, we see that we entered in the Lullaby for Debbie, and it's right here. Now, another thing we want to do is make sure, since we're entering the melody, that our key is the same. So G major is what the key was, and it was also in 3/4. And locally, we want the same in 3/4. Oops. And let's go ahead and, now if you'll notice this chord sequence here, it starts with C major 9. If I change the key here to G, then it automatically adjusts to the G major 9, which was the first chord in our melody. So now we have the chord sequence in, we have the right time signature, and we could speed the tempo up a little bit if we wanted to, but let's just go ahead and leave it as is for now. Now, before we enter the melody, we need to have an instrument to put it into. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and select a piano from the instrument template. And let's go ahead and click on the piano. That'll fill it in with the temporary notes. I'm going to change this since we want a melody. I'll change its roll to melody. Okay, and then when I click on this and import the melody, it'll actually go into that track. Now, it's going to remove the melody that Orb Composer provided. So we want to remove the melody, yes. And now it's ready to import. So there we go. So we actually have to have some information there before we can import the melody. Now I'll solo that, and let's play it. So same melody that we had before. So we've now imported a melody of our own choosing into Orb Composer, and now we can have it orchestrated all we need to do is we could create instruments and notes for all blocks. If we do that, it'll actually add some instruments, and they'll all follow the same chord progression, the same time signature and tempo that we established. So what I'll go ahead and do is gradually bring in some of the instruments so we hear what's going on more precisely. So let's play it with, say, the bass clarinet and the roll of the bass clarinet. Okay, one other point, notice that we have the bright yellow here, so that's for melody, and it's an independent voice. Here we have another independent voice. In this case, it's an accompaniment track, and you can tell because of the orange color. And then the light blue tells us we have an independent background. The orange tells you have an independent accompaniment track. So there's your accompaniment. Here's your background, tells you it's background. And also we have an additional melody track, so it could be like a counter melody, or you could, delete that track if you wanted to. And then the light blue tells us we have an independent background. Again, okay, so we have two independent backgrounds. And then the pink is for an independent bass. Okay, and of course we can add more tracks just by double clicking and get these other instruments in if we want to. So let's go ahead and listen to let's say the horns as background and the piano together. Now, if you notice in the horns, we have the chord accompaniment actually has a slight rhythm to it. If we wanted to just have that hit one time, we could go complexity very low, momentum very low. And let's hear what that sounds like. And maybe when we want that upper register, so if we go to register, it's in the medium, let's go high and hear what that sounds like. Okay, so let's bring in the bassoon. That's an accompaniment track. So here comes in the bassoon. Soften it up a little bit. Now look at the bass clarinet. If we look at the roll in the bass clarinet, we see it's doubling the accompaniment. So let's go ahead and bring that in. Okay, now we also have, if we go further down, we have some strings. Let's go ahead and listen to the cello. There you can see it's a background track. And also we have a double bass, which is a bass track. So let's go ahead and include those. Rewind. So it's starting to develop into an orchestration. And so now we can add, say, the viola, which is, if you notice the function of it or the role of it, it's a melody track. So we're going to get a counter melody, mainly because this is, it's numbered 2, whereas the melody we entered in was 1. So let's go ahead and listen to the counter melody that we have with the viola. And let's bring the dynamics down. So it almost sounds like it could be out of the range of the viola, the counter melody, because we're missing notes. But if we go into the rhythm, the momentum is low. So that's the number of notes per measure. So let's go ahead and increase that a little bit, and that might fill in the notes a little bit more, which it should do. And we'll keep the complexity very low. The complexity is your rhythmic component. So we'll keep that low since it's a fairly low Q. And then hear that. So that was better. And another thing we can look at, we have the roll, which is melody for the viola, which we're looking at. We also have the dynamics. Piano works good there. The momentum we have as average. We change that from low to average. And then the register is medium. We could keep it there. Polyphony, there's only one. For a melody, you're only going to get one polyphony. And different chord notes. For melody, that's not available. So looking at the other instruments that we had provided, nothing else is there. But suppose we wanted to add in a flute. Give flute a roll. If I double click, it assigns automatically, in this case, double accompaniment. But we can change that. Maybe we could change that if we wanted to a roll of independent accompaniment. And then maybe moderate dynamics. And in terms of, let's go average for the momentum and complexity, keep it a very low, well, maybe low for this one. Again, complexity is your rhythmic component, momentum, number of notes per measure. And then register, medium's fine. And then like polyphony, in this case, since we're doing an accompaniment, we have a choice. Let's go ahead and do 4 different notes, since a lot of the chords have 4 notes. Since we're doing beyond just simple minor and major, we're doing 7ths and 9ths. Okay, we'll apply that, and let's listen to the flute. So basically we're getting a flute arpeggio on the accompaniment. So it's just good for looking at various orchestrations given a melody and a chord sequence. So this is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music. If you like this video, please click like. If you have questions or comments, please provide those. And if you wish to subscribe and be notified of upcoming updates, then please subscribe. So Bill McFadden signing off from Tone Pure Music.